Hey everyone, today we're going to deconstruct something that's absolutely fundamental in pretty much any field, understanding how a research report is actually built. We're going to pull back the curtain on the blueprint, the very structure that turns a bunch of raw data into a really compelling story of discovery.
Have you ever had that feeling? You're completely invested in a story, the tension is at its peak, and then, boom, nothing. It is so frustrating, right? Well, that is exactly what it feels like to read a badly structured research report.
I mean, a report that just throws data at you without any clear, logical path. It just leaves you totally hanging. It's like it presents all the clues, but never actually bothers to solve the mystery. Seriously, the most groundbreaking findings can get completely lost if the story isn't told the right way.
But here's the good news. There's a standard formula for this, a kind of blueprint that pretty much all researchers use to avoid this exact problem. It's a structure that's specifically designed to guide you, the reader, step by step from the very first question all the way to the final answer.
And that secret formula? It's called IMRAD. It stands for Introduction, Methods, Results, and Discussion. This little acronym is the backbone of almost every single scientific paper you'll ever read. And look, this isn't just about following some old tradition. It's an incredibly powerful tool for clarity. It makes sure that anyone, anywhere, can follow the logic, critique the work, and even build on it. It's really the foundation of the whole scientific conversation.
So let's stick with our movie analogy for a bit. The first part of any research report is basically Act 1. Its entire job is to set the scene, introduce the central mystery, and get you, the audience, completely and totally hooked.
It all starts with the title page. Think of it as your movie poster. It's going to be catchy, but also accurate. And then comes the abstract, which is, for all intents and purposes, the movie trailer. In just a couple hundred words, it gives you this high-speed summary of the whole plot, the purpose, the methods, the key findings, and the main takeaway.
And you know what's really interesting? It's how this trailer's balanced. Just look at this slide. The biggest chunk, 35%, is dedicated to the results. It's basically giving you the spoilers right up front, the most important findings, because it wants to convince you that the full story is worth your time.
Okay, so after the trailer, the movie actually begins with the introduction. This whole section is there to answer one big question. What's the problem here? It establishes the setting, and most importantly, it points out a gap in what we currently understand. That's our central mystery. Then the literature review comes in. It acts like a recap of all the previous investigations, telling you what's already known and why this new case absolutely needed to be opened.
All right, on to Act 2, the investigation. This is the real core of the report. This is where the researcher shows all their work. Think of it as the detective out on the street gathering clues and documenting every single step.
The methodology section is literally the detective's handbook. It has to be so ridiculously detailed and precise that another researcher could pick it up, follow it like a recipe, and replicate the exact same study. It describes who was studied, what tools were used, and the step-by-step procedure they followed. You can't leave anything out.
And after all that hard work comes the results. And this section has one simple rule, just the facts. It presents the raw, totally uninterpreted data, all the clues and evidence that were gathered. There are no opinions or explanations here, not yet anyway. And this separation is so important. It lets you see the evidence for yourself before the researcher starts connecting the dots.
Here's a perfect example from Carnegie Mellon University. See how the text just states what the figure shows? Figure 3 shows that the electrical conductivity is much lower. It's just describing the trend and backing it up with data, but it doesn't tell us why that is. Not yet. It's just laying all the evidence out on the table for us to see.
Which brings us to the grand finale, Act 3, the big reveal. All the clues have been presented. The suspense is killing us, right? Well, it's finally time to solve the mystery.
This is the ultimate question. I mean, we've got the data, we have the findings, but what does it all actually mean? Answering this one question is the entire purpose of the final sections of the report.
This is where the discussion section comes in. The researcher finally gets to step forward and say, okay, here's what I think happened. They interpret the results, explaining what it all means in the context of their original question. They connect their findings back to all that previous research. They talk about any weird or unexpected results. And, this is really important, they're honest about the study's limitations.
Now, the crucial point here is that the conclusion is designed to, well, land the plane. It's a powerful, tight summary of the most important takeaways from the whole investigation. No new evidence gets presented here. It's the final moral of the story, leaving you with a crystal clear understanding of what was learned.
But wait, the story isn't quite over.
Just like any good movie, a research report has its own credits and bonus features, those final parts that give credit where it's due and provide all the cool behind-the-scenes extras.
The references section? That's your end credits, carefully listing every single source cited in the paper. It's all about academic honesty. The appendices, on the other hand, well, those are the DVD extras. This is where you find stuff like the full survey questions or huge tables of raw data, important material that would have just cluttered up the main story.
So, let's just boil this all down with a super simple cheat sheet. The introduction asks, what's the problem? The methods section answers, what did you do? The results section states, what did you find? And finally, the discussion answers that big one. What does it all mean? See? It's just this beautiful, logical progression designed for maximum clarity.
You know, every great discovery is really just a story waiting to be told. So whether you're reading someone else's research or writing your own, understanding this structure is the absolute key. It turns a pile of facts into a compelling narrative that can actually make an impact. So now, the blueprint is yours. What mystery are you going to solve?